Hey y'all, it's Nancy the Handy Scandy. Welcome back for another crafty venture. Question: have you ever sat down in your crafty space to create one card, just a simple card, then a few hours later and a lot of design changes, you end up with 3 cards or more? Yeah, let's see how I handled that this week. Today I am going to make 3 cards using the same 2 new release products, the Flourish Oval Die and the Many Thanks stamps, and I'm using essentially the same products, the same color scheme, on and on. So as you can see, I've already jumped right in. I started by cutting out the Flourish Oval frame several times. This first time it is on some removable sticker paper that I essentially use as a mask. So now I have left all 3 of these dies together because there's an outline, and which you can see there, and then there's the die itself or the wreath itself, and then there's also the inside. So I laid down the exterior, and then I did my little watercolor painting with my Yuli watercolors, and then I laid down the frame and the inside so that I just essentially have a stencil is what I'm making, stencils and masks. So I laid down a little bit darker layer, and I'm lifting up all of my release paper, or my sticker paper. Words, guys, I apologize. And then here is my reveal, and it was a little wah wah wah. Now I am using Nina 110 pound classic crest solar white, not watercolor paper, so that was a big mistake. And here I was just trying to get a beautiful gradient with these beautiful Yuli watercolors, and unfortunately, because I wasn't using watercolor paper, all the different techniques I tried to get it to gradiate just wasn't working. So I ended up painting the stripes, which I'm not mad about, and then I go around the edges and give it some of that grungy elegance with that it's really distressed embossing, and I just love it. It's some gold embossing powder from my stash, and then here I'm adding some more grunge to that background because that's just who I am and what I like to do. And I'm using the Vintage Script background stamp. It's a relatively new release as well. And there I'm auditioning my wreath just to see if I like it. I've also used some other Whimsy Stamps products, as you can see kind of off there in the wings, and I will be making sure that everything is linked and listed downstairs. All the Whimsy Stamps products, all of the This Calls for Confetti products will definitely be linked downstairs. If I remember and if I'm able, I will link other products as well. But for now, let's get back to the cards. You can see all that grunge, all those dots, all that texture on both the wreath and the background. And here is where the Many Thanks stamps come in. This stamp set, guys, is beautiful. So I'm making sure to use my embossing bag because I don't want any excess or stray gold. Even though there's a lot going on that background, I want this to be really crisp. And look at that beautiful scripty font. I love it. So there are 3 large scripty fonts and a variety of sub-sentiments in this set. It's absolutely stunning. And I love it in gold. I'm sure I will love it in any color that I emboss it in. And yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. There are also 3 dies, 3 of the outline dies for the large sentiments, and there will be some more coming up in the future as well that you can get individually. But for now, this is what I have. If on the ones that I've used, I fussy cut them out. But here you can see that I have that sub-sentiment of You're Wonderful, heat embossed in a fun pink. That is the embossing glaze, the Kitsch Flamingo. I wanted to say funky fuchsia. I'm making things up as I go today, guys. I'm sorry. Anyway, I had a good time making that card. Thought I would make another one. And here I'm using the Mermaid Scales stencil and just putting some of my very, very dirty Versamark ink pad through that and using some more of that Kitsch Flamingo embossing glaze. And because I just wasn't happy with this background, so I had to doctor it up a little bit. So I've got the embossing glaze down and it's heat embossed, and now I'm using that beautiful Vintage Script background stamp again, and you can see that I'm just doing bits and pieces and moving it around, putting it in just kind of blotchy spots. It's very purposeful, very random at the same time. And now it's the vintage wallpaper, which I absolutely adore as well, and doing just the same kind of technique, kind of putting it down here and there, kind of willy-nilly, filling in gaps as I feel they need to be filled, and making sure I get different parts of the stamp as well. So it's coming out nice and grungy, and here I've got some of the ink that I used. It's a Pink Fresh Studio ink, as well as some of those beautiful starry colors by Kuretake, and I just kind of mixed them and made my own little blend there to do the, what is it called? It's not called speckles, splatter. Woo, words, sorry. So here I have this sentiment that says many thanks, again heat embossed in that gold embossing powder and fussy cutting it out, and that will go on this background. So this particular oval frame is just one layer. The other one was several layers, and if you saw, I left in all of the little Flourish die cuts. So this one's a little bit different in that regard, and I've used the Sprinkles outline die to cut out that background, so it has a nice clean cut, and it makes a beautiful frame. And then of course I used another sub-sentiment and the Quick Strips label dies. And here I am just making a third card. I decided I made two, I may as well make another. And I started to just do like some really simple watercolor stripes, but then I decided, ooh, I haven't done a watercolor handmade plaid in a while. So I just went for it. So I have several different colors of paint laid down, and here I'm coming in with a gold gel pen, as well as two of my little ink tonic pens from Arteza. One is kind of a hot pink, and the other is more of a rusty kind of orangey brown. And I just add these stripes. The gold goes down the center of each stripe, and then the pink went across sideways on either side of the gold, and the rust went down vertically on either side of the gold as well. So get a little bit of variety, a little bit of variation, just kind of a variation on a theme, if you will. And now here I am taking that vintage background, or vintage wallpaper background, and I adore that stamp, you guys. Absolutely love it. And here I've got the Farmhouse Greenery stencil. I'm just putting down some texture paste, and I add some more of that gold embossing powder while that embossing paste is wet, and it just sticks to that embossing, and it's gorgeous. And of course I went around the edges on this one as well with the embossing powder. I just love that look. I didn't do quite as much on this one as I did the first one, but what I am going to do, as you can see, is I put that wreath, I layered it up, so I have two layers, and I dabbed it all down in the Versamark, and then I put the embossing powder all over it. And while it's hot and melty, I dip it down in the embossing powder again, just to add some bulk and some layers and extra texture in different spots. I don't do it all the way around. So some of it is kind of gritty, and some of it is very much layered and bulky, and it looks more metallic, and it's just really pretty. And again, kind of auditioning things, making sure everything is laid down. And you can see all of those beautiful, the splatters and the shimmer and the shine, and those gorgeous confetti from this Calls for Confetti. And again, I will have them listed and linked downstairs. This is the, I believe it's called Sparkle All the Way, is what I used on those two. This one has a couple Sparkle All the Way, as well as, let me see the name of this one, Glazed Strawberry. And I just love the way this Calls for Confetti coordinates so perfectly with the Whimsy Stamps products. It's like a relationship made in heaven. So, woo, guys, we made it. Thank you so much for your patience as I struggle with my words. Excuse me. And I just thank you for spending some time with me. I would love your feedback. If you want to give me some comments downstairs in the comment section, let me know what you feel about grunge, how you feel about these cards, if you have a favorite, if you've ever sat down in your craft room to make just one and several hours later you have more than you can handle. Sadly, that seems to be a pattern with me these days. But guys, you know I love you. I thank you again. Like, If you like this video, subscribe if you're not already a member of my crafty tribe. And if you are already a member, thank you so much for your love and your support. You guys are the best. Until next time, guys, this is Nancy, the Handy Scandy. Mwah! I'm out.